Sorry about that. I hit the mic off the home time. So, anyways, welcome in. And you saw the video there. And yes, I'm a dope, so I'm going to give myself one of those. And that's also to the Phillies as well. But, anyways, what I was trying to say is the Phillies lose 4-1 today. They get eliminated in 4 games here. Um, and I'll now have some editing to do. But you saw that video, and that was the eighth inning. Now, a single there by Castellanos wasn't that much of a momentum swing there. But if you get that base hit down the line, and hopefully Bohm stays at first base if they call that correctly and call it fair, then you got first and third, tying run at the plate, chance to at least get it to 4-2. Who knows? But Bohm made an out there. I don't even know what he did there. I wrote it. I don't even think I wrote it down. And my notes are over on the desk. So, um, and I'll get my notes in a second here. Um, but yeah, it was a tough loss here, and a season with so much promise went in the toilet. And it was fitting that they got eliminated in a town or in a neighborhood of Queens called Flushing. So let me grab my notes here, and I will uh, tell you some things I saw in the game here. Okay, so there we go. So some thoughts I had here. Early in the game, Phillies didn't have much in the way of offense. Jose Quintana was pitching well, and they were chasing. Mets had the bases loaded the first 2 innings, and we got to see the old glimpses of the old or beginning of the year Ranger Suarez, where he got out of the jam. He did not give up a run in the 4 and a third innings, but his pitch count was through the roof. Um, Now, the Phillies did break through with a run on the fourth inning on Vientos's error there, which could have been a hit, but they called it an error. Um, I did make a note that in the bottom of the sixth, when the Mets did their damage and Lindor hit the grand slam, Hoffman, who usually pitches 1 inning, leaves the game, and the next pitcher comes in, he had a long sit, and he's not used to going back into the game for a second inning, especially when you have a long break there, when you have not one but two pitching changes as well. So, but it's not anything you can really, you have to adapt even in October. And, unfortunately, he was wild all over the place. And um, Estevez came in the sixth inning because Topper was trying to uh, stop the Mets from scoring there and try to get it to 1-0. And I told my buddy Mike on text right before the home run, I said, "This is setting up for Zach Wheeler to be the closer," because they were saying that they're not going to be afraid of using Wheeler out of the bullpen tonight. So I'm thinking at that time, I said, Wheeler is going to be closing tonight after that move. But um, it ended up Lindor hit the grand slam, which was the difference in the game. And I do have to say one thing, and I'm not saying this, you know, Mets did what the Phillies did 2 years ago. They were the hot team, and they did what they had to do in order to win. But the one thing I will say is Francisco Lindor gave a lesson to Braves fans, or to the Atlanta Braves players, the San Diego Padres. Dodgers were kind of like that in the past. I think they've calmed down a little bit with the hot doggy shit. And I don't know what guy it was that said it, if it was Amin, if it was Wainwright, or if it was Pierzynski. Lindor had his head down the whole time. He didn't celebrate at all. He's celebrating in the dugout where the oh my god, uh, sign that they have when everybody has to go to the camera and has to pimp themselves on camera. But in terms of what he did on the field, there was nothing there that you could potentially throw at somebody's head or anything like that. It's just, okay, I hit the home run. I'll celebrate in the dugout, but I'm not giving them that opportunity. I'm not going to give them an opportunity to get fired up in a situation like that because when you're playing a divisional rival like this series was, you definitely have um, the opportunity. I mean, tendencies of players and all that. Now, tendencies of players from being in the league X amount of years as well, but you know your division rivals even more because you're facing each other 13 times a year as opposed to 6 times a year or maybe seven, depending on the schedule. But you you're not seeing you're not seeing them one time a year in your ballpark. You're seeing them twice in the ballpark. You're seeing them twice down there. In this case this year, they also went to London for 2 games. So you really saw something that is rare in Major League Baseball. Now, in a moment like that, a fist pump is okay. A point to your bullpen, I can understand that, even though that's something that could be considered hot doggy or something like that. But you know what? They I have to give Lindor credit because he could have hot dogged around the bases, but he did not. So, and I think the Braves can learn from that because they're the biggest hot dogs in baseball, and also um, the San Diego Padres. They're the biggest hot dogs for a team that's never won a World Series. That they don't have a championship to back their act up, but you know I just think that you just need to realize that you have to act like you've been there. And a lot of these guys don't know what it's like, and unfortunately, they think that they're king shit. Um, but you know, and I'm just peeking in my phone there for a second. Nothing really important. So Phillies are eliminated, and a very long off season begins now. Long in terms of being pissed off that you had an exit much earlier than expected. And I gave you last night a scenario where Rob Thompson gets fired. Now, I talked on somebody's Discord tonight before the show, and he told me straight up, and I don't know where he where he lives, who his teams are, anything like that. I have no idea. But he said World Series loss, NLCS loss, Division Series loss. He's got to go. Now, that was the same thing that I said about Charlie Manuel, but Charlie Manuel didn't get fired. But this is a different regime, um, different uh, group of guys running the team. Even though you still have the same owners per se, but you have a different figurehead at the top in John Middleton, and we're going to see how John Middleton feels about not getting his fucking trophy back, especially with a team like this that had a great chance and just got stomped in terms of not being able to get anything started offensively. But I'll tell you what, I won't be surprised if he gets fired, but I won't be surprised if he doesn't. Now, the scenarios that I had were the team showed no heart, didn't do shit offensively the whole game, and they got blown out. Now, it's just one bad pitch that cost them the 4 runs. So I don't know about you. He could conceivably come back. I don't know. But whatever, whoever it is that, you know, I mean, this is that gray area scenario where you give up the grand slam and it's like I don't know what to I don't know what to say in terms of do you fire him or not. And especially those that are watching on X, feel free to chime in. And also if you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube where I'm at tonight, and probably next week I'm going to add Bleacher Brothers as well, their YouTube, so we'll have that fourth window for everybody. Um, I just think that um, I think it's possible you can fire him. Um, I think there's grounds for it. You know, diminishing returns. The window is closing. It's not completely closed. It's closing. Now, you are going to have to make some moves. Is it Bohm? Is it Castellanos? Is it Schwarber? Because Schwarber is going to be in the final year of his contract. So if you want to get rid of him, you could. And then you can get back to the um, let me see here. So, um, so it's really now. I could just say, like I did with Charlie Manuel in 2012, or is it 2011? 2011, or maybe even 2012 when he didn't make the playoffs, that he needed to be fired. Now, I said after 2011 he needed to be fired because you won 102 games, you mismanaged those games, so you know, but also you had in 2011 you had the perfect storm where the AAA team was in the playoffs and you don't want to disrupt what they're doing, so you had a little bit of everything going on there. So you couldn't get any extra guys there because at that time you could have up to 40 men on the roster, where now you can only have 28 in September. But it's it's a tough decision that has to be made, and I would not be against firing Topper, but I wouldn't be against not firing him as well. So I don't know. So we'll see, and hopefully, uh, they don't. Hopefully, management, the upper management, and John Middleton don't string him along like they strung Gabe Kapler around, where they let him sit in limbo for a couple of weeks and fired him. Now, now, the only thing I will say about Gabe Kapler when he got fired was that I think they waited for Joe Girardi, make sure Joe Girardi was available to fire him. And, the players didn't really respond to Joe Girardi, And, Joe Girardi, I think, is a good media guy. I think Rob Thompson is an intelligent guy, unlike Charlie Manuel, who I think is an idiot. But I just think that maybe you need somebody new at the helm. The problem is who's out there. And that's the question I had last night when I was thinking about this after the show. I was like, well, you could have had Terry Francona, but he already signed with Cincinnati. I don't know who's out there. It isn't like the NFL where you can say this OC is available, this OC is available, this defensive coordinator is available. This guy could be a guy that's coming back from being at ESPN or Fox for a year. Who knows? And I haven't researched it, nor am I planning on doing it in the next few days. But I'm sure if there's a firing in the next day or two, I'm pretty sure that you are going to see those names pop up. And I'm sure a lot of the names are going to be like, "Oh, really?" But I really think what you need to do is you need a guy who doesn't lean as hard on the analytics. Because a couple of those moves were analytical moves today. And, you know, now the thing is, you had to rescue Ranger Suarez, who came up big for 4 and a third innings. He was getting himself into jams, but he got himself out of those jams, and he was playoff Ranger Suarez. So, but you gotta, I mean, you can second guess a couple of things. You probably should have gotten another pitcher up, because it's an elimination game. It's all hands on deck. That's what you need to do. And in his case, he had to, he probably let Hoffman go too long. Now, who knows who you brought in, because but he was very reliant on Hoffman, who shit the bed left and right. Strom, who shit the bed in games 2 and 3, or 1, 2, and 3 for that matter. Estevez, who shouldn't even been in the game yesterday. Um, he gave up the grand slam. Um, Thanks, Voltaire. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's a tough loss, but um, and the Dodgers are waking up. I do have that game on right now. Um, Good seeing you as well. Um, yeah. So yeah, I mean, just trying to give my thoughts on the game and everything else I have planned for tonight here. So um, I mean, I didn't get to see all the games because I was trying to get my stuff over to the other table today, but I didn't get enough done because I woke up late and everything. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is that gray area that I was hoping that I wouldn't have, because if the Phillies lost 2-1, then if they lose 2-1, then okay, you definitely keep Thompson. You lose 9-1, 12-0, something like that, and the team shows nothing, then he has to go. But the team did show fight in the late innings. You had a potential rally in the eighth inning, cut off by the umpire who missed the call. And he was actually in a position, with the way his eyes were, to call the ball fair, because he is looking from foul ground into fair ground. He's not directly on the line. So he had a great opportunity there. Phillies got a couple of guys to the plate, and you got one of the guys that you want to tie the game with one swing as well. So um, it wasn't like you had a 1, 2, 3 ninth inning. Diaz was trying to give that game away, and if the Mets are going to lose, it's going to be because of Edwin Diaz, because he was very shaky in this series. He was very shaky in the Brewers series, but and he was shaky in the Mets the doubleheader with the Braves, but he found a way to get through it, and that's what sometimes what you have to do is this time of year is you have to find a way to get through it, and he did. Excuse me. So we got the Mets in. The Yankees won tonight. Um, and I'm just peeking my phone here because, uh, but it's a tough loss, but we'll see if there's any repercussions from this. So now, one thing that did happen, and I didn't hear the whole story, because even though I was off today, yeah, I heard that there was an umpire change, and it's a little interesting. Uh, you know, that you hear a change like this at the last minute. Um, so so I was sitting there, and I noticed that they did say that Rob Drake um, was not on the field today, and Tumpane. And if I'm pronouncing these names wrong, I apologize. I didn't even catch how they pronounce the name. Um, so Tumpane assumed the third base position for Rob Drake today, between the Mets and the Phillies. Um, Drake was in right field for the opener, left field in game two. It was a third base for last night's game, and left mid game because of a non-emergency medical issue. Now, whatever whatever the issue was, hopefully everything's okay, because even though we hate umpires, and especially that first base umpire tonight who blew that fucking call, uh, you know, but and by the way, if that was me that got screwed by that umpire, the first base coach wouldn't have stopped me. I would have gotten ejected. But um, so Tom Payne uh, was assigned as a replay umpire at the MLB's office. So since they're in New York, hey, you just got to drive over. So that's the convenience of having New York teams in the playoffs. They say, hey, take a ride over there, take your uniform. You're now going to be third base umpire today. So that's what happened there. Um, so you know, and and the one thing is, and maybe maybe you can, maybe the people that have known me all my life and saw me go through everything, and everybody's saying that everybody on my Facebook friends that are a lot of the guys that are responding to me were guys I went to high school with, and they were calling it a shtick that I'm saying that Thompson needs to be fired. Charlie Manuel's an idiot. Well, he is, but you know, even though he learned Japanese and stuff like that, he only did that because he had to survive. It's kind of like the people down south trying to learn English. But anyways, and I mean people down south as in Alabama and Mississippi where their language is redneck. But anyways, but um, but you do have a tough loss there, and you know, I don't know what to, I mean, am I trying to get viewers onto here? Yes, but since I've been doing this stream for the last couple of years, whether it was on here on No Filter, or or now streaming to X and YouTube at the same time, I don't know what you do, but we'll see. Now, right now we have the Dodgers up big on San Diego. They are up 5-0 in the fourth inning here. Um, One guy who's not in the lineup tonight is Freddie Freeman. He has a lingering ankle injury, and he was scratched tonight. Um, he was lifted for a pinch runner in Game 3 on Tuesday after he limped the first on an eighth inning single. He also left on Game 2 on Sunday after 5 innings due to discomfort in his ankle. They made numerous adjustments in his absence today. Max Muncy moved from third to first. Kike Hernandez switched from center field to third base. Chris Taylor got a start in center field. Ryan Brazier was starting for the Dodgers tonight, with day manager saying that he would go with the bullpen game. Must have confidence in his bullpen if he's doing that. But so Brazier was announced a starter about 4 hours before the first pitch. Blah blah blah. Padres took a 2-1 lead last night, as we all know. Dylan Cease was starting tonight, or at least he was. Did he start tonight? Let me just double check that. Yeah, and he got hammered. He was out after an inning and two-thirds. So um, now Yu Darvish will start Game 5 if the Dodgers hold on to win tonight. If the Padres win, then Darvish will start Game 1. So, uh, but But that series is if that series goes to a game five, that's going to be very interesting because of everything that's been going on with the fans, especially in LA. Now, especially with the Phillies out, more Phillies fans can go to LA and be quasi Dodgers fans and throw shit on the field. And that's a joke, people. So, you know, the one thing I do not condone is throwing shit on the field, especially like that, because next thing I mean, do you really want to be the guy who gets your team a forfeit in the biggest game of the year, or just being the guy who you know like if you threw a beer can or whatever, and they have you know Tatis rolls his ankle and he breaks it. Do you want to be known as that guy? I mean, if you're in LA, possibly, but for the rest of the baseball world, do you want to be? I don't think so. I don't think you want to be that guy. But um, but yeah. So looking right now, and they're through four in San Diego. It looks like we could be having at least one game five, and unfortunately, it's not the one that I wanted. So, well, I would have preferred four game fives, but my team did not do it. So, and I had to take that fight and Phil's thing down and figure out what I'm going to do there. So, um, Guardians are on the brink of elimination. They're another team that had the bye, and they lost to Houston. And I think we're seeing AJ Hinch's influence and playoff experience over Stephen Vogt right now. Plain and simple. Um, Now, the pitching plans are working quite well for Detroit at the moment. They sent six pitchers to the mound while shutting out Cleveland for the second straight game, winning 3-0. Vogt says that they were prepared for it. We took our shots when we had our opportunity to put some runs up, play some bets on them, and then just didn't come through. So um, the Tigers open with Kiter Montero, and if I had the sound drop, I would play it. Who the fuck is that guy? But he retired the free swinging Indian Guardians team in order, or um, what my what our good friend Trevor Harris calls the Cleveland Baseball Club. Um, we knew he's aggressive in the zone early. I never question what our guys do. It's their bat. We don't tell people how to work in a bat. They're individuals. They're big leaguers. And you kind of have to work. You have to know what your pitchers are going to be like. But I mean that's scary to me because that's something that Charlie Manuel will say, and he's the flukiest World Series manager to win a World Series, in my opinion. And it's not because I don't like him. It's because we let's just face facts. Jimmy Williams saved the Phillies in 2008, but Montero's six pitches were the fewest by a starting pitcher in the playoffs since Wade Miley had a five-pitch outing pitching for Milwaukee against the Dodgers in the 2018 LCS. Uh, Miley was pulled after a walk. Hinch continued his successful approach of relying on the bullpen, something that began in earnest at the trade deadline. Um, he inserted rookie left-hander Brant Hertier for a particularly left-handed portion of the lineup in the second. Josh Naylor and Lane Thomas opening inning with singles, and then Andre Jimenez flied out. Uh, so you do have all that. So um, Vogt said we knew what they were going to do. They just didn't do it. Guardians left 8 runners on base. Kind of sounds like the first few innings with the Mets. They went 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Cleveland has a chance to send the ALDS back home with the win on Thursday night. Tanner Bibby will start Game 4 for the AL Central champions. The Guardians are in the playoffs for the fifth time in 8 years, but they have not reached the ALCS since appearing in the 2016 World Series. So it's been a while. And, you got to wonder, if anything. Uh, so it appears the Tigers will lean on at least a handful of pitchers in the second and two games at Comerica Park. And Hinch said we've been doing that for a few months now. So now I said the Detroit Tigers were my pick in the American League because they were the hot team. And, you know, that could be the case here. Now, I did say for those that are friends with me on Facebook, I didn't say it on Discord. I didn't say it on um I didn't say it on X or anything like that. And I think it was earlier today. Let me check my podcast stuff because I am so far behind in my podcast that um let me see if I can find it here. Um what am I looking for here? Oh, yeah. I just want to see here if it was earlier today. Um um okay, so John Boy Media is working with the Dan Patrick Show. So their podcasts do pop up on the Dan Patrick Show feed on wherever you get podcasts. So I'm wondering, and I probably won't get to it in a while, or I might just listen to it just for shits and giggles, but I'm wondering if they are thinking what I'm thinking. Now, I personally feel, and feel free to chime in, and this isn't about the Phillies losing. I think little by little, we're starting to get more data. And this is what I said last year. Let's go a few more years and let's see more data. Well, the Phillies lost. We'll see what the Dodgers do here. Cleveland's about to be eliminated, but the Yankees are winning. So you're getting some mixed results here that prove my theories through the first 2 years wrong. But if I want to change one thing, and it's not that crazy of a thing here, I would consider making the division series a best of seven because even though you do have um, even though you do have these, you know, you still have the buys and everything like that. Without that, I mean, my theory without adding more teams, my theory is that I want to see a best of seven. And if I can type, I can do the one thing I want to do here. So, and for some reason, that went to more than just. Oh, anyways, all right. So it did work. So now I'm not going to tell you guys that it's going to happen. It's just food for thought. It's not we must do this because first of all, I just think I just think best of five is minor league at best. And even minor league baseball, they don't even do best of five. They do best of three, which is even worse. But with the long season that they have in minor league baseball, the way they spread things out like they have, you can't do it. So I would suggest the best of seven series. And if you do that, you're only adding 3 days to the schedule. So it isn't like you're adding another round to the playoffs and the next thing you know, you're playing into Thanksgiving. No. Instead of November 2nd for game 7, I believe that's the latest, barring any rainouts or anything like that, you would go to November 5th or 6th. Not that bad. So you're talking 3 days. And I personally feel with cold weather sites and stuff like that, that's probably the last I would want to see World Series because Minnesota, Denver, Chicago, Cleveland, you know, you start getting into the potential for snowouts. And if you have snowouts, and you're really in trouble, especially in Cleveland where you could get 3 feet of snow like that off of the lake effect snow. So I don't know if that's what John Boy Media did in their podcast there, but yeah, I wouldn't be against the best of 7 because losing one game in a best of 7 is not as critical as a best of 7 because instead of 3 losses eliminating you, 4 losses would eliminate you. But I mean, it took the NBA forever to go to best of 7 for the first round. It's so much better. Hockey went to it many years ago. Greatest thing they ever did, in my opinion. And you could easily have a best of 7 here for that. Now, they did the right thing with the wild card, and thank you, China, for the pandemic because we got to see the best of 3 format work, and it did work. And as a result, we ended up with some interesting series for that necessary playoff format. It happened, and it was like, oh, well, what if we do it in 2022? Boom. So I think that's the best thing to do because I think the teams that are on buys would lose a game, but you lose a game, but you don't necessarily lose the series off of one game because you're sitting around on a buy. But that's just my opinion. And even if you're listening after the fact, feel free to chime in. I'm not going to bite unless you really are very ignorant with your comments. And I'm not going to, and if you're ignorant with it, and that's when I go off. But if we're cool about this and we can get into it as civilized human beings, and that's what I'm for. So one more thing here before I got one more story here, and I got to return to the stupid shit I saw segment, and I kind of saw this. I kind of saw that last minute tonight, so I didn't look to see if there's an actual video of it. So I'm not going to play. I'm not going to share the video here, but the one thing I do want to tell you is about Rebet. And Rebet is a partner of Bleacher Brothers. It's a fun app. You can bet with money. You can bet with these coins you get credited with. We're making deposits and wagers and all that other stuff here. And right now, you have a um, you have a 100% deposit match up to $100 right now. And I have shared that link for you guys. And especially for those on YouTube and on Twitch. Um, It's a 100% deposit match up to $100, and it's available in most states. It's not available in Nevada. It's not available in, I think, Idaho, and there's a couple other states. And I do know that there's a link that you can check your state for that. I just have to find it. It's on the Bleacher Brothers page on Facebook, I believe. But It's 100% match up to $100. And the one thing about this is it's a very social network type of a page of an app. You can follow your friends and see what they're wagering and stuff like that. And then on top of that, you got these coins where because I'm a little bit of a crunch in terms of cash. The first part of the month is where most of my bills are and all that. And like I always say, bet within your means. Make sure your bills are paid. And if you have a gambling problem, dial 1-800-GAMBLER. You can also use those coins and keep your mind sharp and stuff like that, like I have. Like for example, I tried to jinx the Mets and I played with 250 coins. Now, what that means, other than I got these fictitious coins. Who knows? But I put a 250 coin wager on the New York Mets today, -1 run at +112, and it won. I was hoping to jinx it, and I was sacrificing 250, and unfortunately, I won five something. But it's a fun little app, and also the one thing is you could also do the gentleman's wager from Trading Places if you wanted to. Now, whether it's the single dollar that they do in the movie, or it's a 20, it's a 50, whatever you want to wager on the game, Rebet will facilitate that wager. And let's say you end up winning, Rebet will give you that money right away. So they are the facilitators of the gentlemen's wagers as well, as I like to call them. So the link is in the chats in YouTube and on Twitch. And also, you can go to bleacherbrothers.com. And if you heard it from me, let me know so that I can get credit for you signing up for the app. Uh, so it's Rebet, great, fun little app there. I am a gold better. Don't know how I got that. Might have to ask AJ once the hurricane passes. I mean, he's away from the center of the storm, but he's still getting hit with the outer bands and stuff. So hopefully he's okay down there in Florida. But other than that, check out that app, and it's a fun little app. So also, I don't have a thing for it here. Saturdays at 10 a.m. Also eligible, and I should have it on. I don't have it on the right one here, but you see on the bottom of scroll there. Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. on the Bleacher Brothers platforms. We look at the latest horse racing news and top races from around North America. Still don't know what I'm going to do this Saturday, but we'll figure it out. So, also eligible is every Saturday. We talk to horses. So, you know, I may be the horse racing degenerate of Bleacher Brothers, but I'm proving with this show I am much more than that. So, um, and forgive me, my phone's been um, blowing up here with comments here. Um, it was just a comment that I had to Kevin Nagandi because he was highlighting all the losses over the last couple of years. And let me pull it up here. And of course, there was the one jerk off. And there's one guy who said, if you really want to lay it on, Villanova missed March Madness and Temple is worse. Football is worse than conference. We're talking about postseasons, not making the postseason. So, um, but and one person said no one cares about MLS. I'm going to share my screen so you can see Kevin Nagandi's post and my reply. Kevin Nagandi is a local guy who works at ESPN. Um, so let me go here. I got to pull this back up. There you go. Let me zoom in on this so you can actually see this. I don't want that. Whoops. No, I don't want to zoom that one. I want to zoom this one, you dumbass. See how I talk to myself? Okay, so filling the last 24 months. 2022, Phillies blow a 2-1 World Series lead, and they got no hit. 2023, Eagles blow a second half lead in the Super Bowl. Sixers blow game 6 and 7 to the Celtics. Phillies blow games 6 and 7 in the NLCS. Eagles start 10-1 and then crash and burn. This year, Sixers lose to the Knicks in the first round, and then the Phillies lose to the Mets. Now, of course, forgot that the Union lost to LAFC in the same day. The Phillies lost the Astros in the World Series. Of course, somebody has to say, if you really want to lay it on, it's just one thing, that's the one thing. And, I'm not going to respond to every idiot that's out there, but um, SJ, I see you. Motherfucker. Let's try that again. This time with feeling. There you go. You happy now? I got your shout out command going there. Uh, so I did have it's part of the reason why I'm not over at the dining room table yet. Uh, so that especially when Monday nights come around, when Mike comes over, which may be next week, we can have a conversation between the two of us live and in person. Uh, so, so going to tinker with the wording a little bit. I think I'm going to change that to last streaming sports, um, you know, but we need to nudge her into streaming a little bit more or getting her back to streaming because we all miss her stuff. And, she is one of the people that I do look up to in terms of streaming, even though if I was in person with her, she would be looking up at me because I'm much taller than she is. But uh, so we did get that. And I'm afraid to tell her now. I might have to tinker with her posts, but you can also you can also add quotes. So if you went add quote, I'm much taller than SJ, it will be saved. And then if you hit quote or exclamation point quote and exclamation point add quote to add whatever I say, and then quote to get a random quote from yours truly that would be in the bank of quotes, it will randomly tell you a quote. So we do have that as well. So just some little things I added today because I know SJ tried to um, tried to um, do shout outs for those that were either following me or rating me or anything like that. And I did not have it set up. So I have to give myself another one of those for not having it set up until today. But it is what it is. So, anyways, one last story here, and this one I need to find here. Um, or did I have it on Facebook here? And I know um, once again, some great podcasting by yours truly. And I need that story in a second. Uh, And let me see. We'll go with this one here. So this is from last night, early this morning. The Tropicana is no more. Uh, I think she's saying that that's cool what I did today on my day off. Penguin AZ, how you doing, man? Um, saw some of your posts there, and you know, um, hopefully everything's okay there. Um, and SJ Penguin AZ is on YouTube, so you can't shout him out. So let's go over here. I'm going to show you the video here. I need to stop that video. So this was early this morning. Um, if my brain wasn't fried. Okay, so this was run this morning, and let's go here. And this was this morning in Las Vegas. This is from Las Vegas locally on X. Here you go. Yeah, I mean, I've saw them, but I mean, I did see them, but I mean, I didn't respond. But um, trust me, it's not fun, and hopefully everything goes okay with you guys. So that was the Tropicana imploded. Now I didn't realize that it was two different buildings like that. I thought they were, but either way, the casino was raised to make way for the new baseball stadium in Vegas. If the Athletics make it there, because I'm still believing that it may not happen. Um, so they said goodbye to Tropicana before first light on Wednesday, an elaborate implosion, as you saw, to clear the land for a $1.5 billion stadium for the relocating Oakland Athletics. The demolition reduced to rubble the last true mob building on the Las Vegas Strip. Um, as the city continues to rebrand into a sports hub. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say the city, I would say the county, because that area of Vegas is actually called Paradise, Nevada. Bet you did not know that. But the Tropicana Hotel towers tumbled in a celebration that included a fireworks display and a drone show. It was the first implosion at the Strip since 2016, when the final tower of the Riviera was leveled for a convention center expansion. Um, so the A's are going to be playing 3 years in Sacramento with hopes of opening a new ballpark ahead of the 2028 season. Uh, Now, the lease, the non-relocation and development agreements need to be approved by December 5th in order to begin construction on the new stadium, and it will be a dome stadium. That agreement provides an initial 30-year lease that can be extended up to 99 years. So they said they are expected to spend $350 million in public money rather than the full 380 allocated by Nevada legislature. The team says it plans to finance 300 million the stadium costs, and the other 850 will come from private equity. Now, there's only one hotel remaining from those mob days and the mob era, and that is the Flamingo, which is in the middle of the strip. However, the Flamingo's original structures are long gone as part of a complete rebuild in the 1990s. So the casino is still there. It's just not what you would what people from many years ago would remember from when the mob days were around. Tropicana was the third oldest casino on the strip, opening in 1957. It was a frequent haunt of the legendary Rat Pack, while its past under the mob had long cemented its place in Las Vegas lore. So we're kind of getting there with the start of the build of the stadium, but I just get that feeling. I still have that feeling that they won't be there. I get that feeling, and I think that stadium's going to end up being a stadium for an expansion team. But what do I know? But um, so one more story here before I go, and this is the stupid shit that I saw segment, and I shared this on my Facebook. Um, I do not think there's a video with this. Let me just double check here. I'm just checking this ad here first to see if there's an actual video here. Um, Now, the one thing I will tell you guys is, I will ask you guys is, have you ever had a situation where, okay, the video has nothing to do with anything. Okay, so the video doesn't have anything to do with it. So, have you ever had, have you ever had a situation where your phone ringer is on and you're trying to turn it off and you can't turn it off because you're doing everything other than the simple thing you got to do to turn it off or anything like that? Or maybe, and this is probably something that might happen to the Penguin AZ because he has a couple of kids. You have an R-rated movie or worse on TV, and the kids come strolling by, and you're trying to change the channel and or turn the video off, and all of a sudden, oops, and you're trying to get the remote, and you're hitting everything except the stop button. Well, something like that happened with Qantas Airways, and no, Rain Man was not on this flight, but it'd be interesting to see what would have happened if he was on this flight because things got as unexpectedly racy aboard a Qantas flight. And I need to get rid of this video here. How do I get rid of that? Hold on a second. Ah, fuck. Hold on. All right, it's going to have to be in small video. So let me see here a little bit more. Oops. Yeah, 110 is what we'll have to do. Things got unexpectedly racy aboard a recent Qantas flight when an R-rated film was played on all the aircraft screens. Well, according to a statement from the Australian airline confirming the incident to CNN, passengers on the flight from Sydney to Tokyo uh, last week were unable to select movies individually due to a technical issue with the in-flight entertainment system. In a statement, Qantas said our crew members had a limited list of movies that they were able to play across all screens on the aircraft, and based on the request from a number of passengers, a particular movie was selected for the entire flight. Though Qantas did not give the name of the movie in the statement, I wonder if it was Massive Meaty Men, because if it was, SJ, uh, you know, Massive Meaty Men may be more popular than I thought. um, so they did not name the movie in the statement. Multiple photos of in-flight screens posted on social media by users claiming to be on the flight revealed the film to be Daddio. Uh, uh, and I'm guessing that uh, actually that is at the AMC in the Chamonix next week. It's a shame that I'm working. But anyways, uh, oh god. Um, so the drama stars Dakota Johnson, Sean Penn is rated R by the U.S. Motion Picture Association for language throughout, sexual material, and brief graphic nudity. My kind of movie. According to a post, well, first of all, I need to show the screen here, you dumbass. There we go. So, according to a post by a Reddit user who was on the flight, in addition to nudity, the movie featured a lot of sexting, the kind where you could literally read the text on screen without needing headphones. It took almost an hour of this before they switched to a more kid friendly movie, but it was super uncomfortable for everyone, especially family and kids on board. So the movie was clearly not suitable to play for the whole flight. We sincerely apologize to customers for this experience. All screens were changed to a family-friendly movie for the rest of the flight, which is our standard practice for rare cases where individual movie selection is impossible. We're reviewing how the movie was selected. So I don't know what happened there, but next thing you know, you got a hard R movie there going. Um, so yeah, so that is the stupid shit that I saw segment, and just give a little update before we call it a night here. And it's going to be a quick show tonight. I didn't really pull up too much material for the show. Dodgers are still up 5-0, top of the sixth. NHL action. Jets are up 2-0 on the Oilers. The Flames are down 4-1 to the Canucks in Vancouver. The Golden Knights are up 3-1 on the Avalanche. Earlier tonight, Canadians beat the Maple Leafs 1-0, and the Rangers won 6-0. So that is all the action that we have here tonight. Um, so we have another show tomorrow. That'll be at 9 o'clock. Back to our 9 o'clock show, and next week I'm probably going to stream as well to the Bleacher Brothers YouTube as well. So Penguin will have an option of my YouTube or Bleacher Brothers YouTube, possibly. Uh, so thank you both, Tara. Now we just got to get um, now we got to get SJ to start streaming, and we can have some fun with her. Uh, and Padres fans are quiet, yeah. And we had the Mets fans pretty quiet today. It was just that we gave up that grand slam, and we're now in that gray area that I was hoping we weren't going to be in, where do we fire him? Do we not fire him? And also, who do we get? So, I mean, it isn't like the NFL where you can um, go to say that guy's a good guy, that guy's a good guy, whatever. So, um, but it is what it is, and and I do want to say that I do want to say one thing before we go here, and I'm going to share my screen one more time. Uh, as you can see there, that ball was fair. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say that, I'm just going to say here that, the ball was fair. And even with the way that the umpire is trying to avoid the ball, it was worse than an Angel Hernandez strike three call. So, but it's still 4-1. Didn't affect the game too much. But if it was 4-3 and that happened, oh, you would have seen a lot worse. So we'll see what happens. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see what happens down in South Philly tomorrow as everybody starts packing up. So, uh, and and I think that the Mets fans will say we got lucky, and I think we may see a change in the instant replay rules because anything from home to first base or home to third base is not reviewable. That is something that could be reviewable next year because you need an incident like that because there was an incident like that with the Phillies a couple years back in their last golden era. I think it was around 2009, 2010. Marlins got screwed out of the game because of that, and they couldn't go to instant replay. So it may even been 2008. Um, but could you could have a you could have a rule change with that come next year, and and then you get into the situation of what happened last night with Castellanos dropping the ball, trying to pull the ball out of his glove. You get in a situation of where do we place these runners? So, but it is what it is, and I've already moved on to next year. So, and I've moved on to the Eagles, where just as a reminder, I have also started just to let you guys know, and I've only done it once here. Um, and yeah, AJ Prasinsky, does he have an OnlyFans account or something? Because he did refer to uh, Bryce Harper getting hit in the rear end with a errant throw to second base as a shot in the peach. So he might be on OnlyFans. So check him. Um, where is it now? Uh, So just to let you guys know as well, I have fired the first salvo at the Cleveland Browns here because um, Deshaun Watson is coming to town this weekend, and around the corner from my office, which I haven't been in 4 years because I work from home, I have shot my first shot to getting blocked by the Cleveland Browns. And there you go. I hear this Sunday's Eagles Browns game is being presented by an awesome business that'll guarantee happy endings. As you know, Deshaun Watson is a sexual predator, and we in Philly can be ruthless, and you know, and that is an actual. I I should have went downtown today, and the reason why I say that is, if I went downtown today, I could have seen if that place is still around or not, because I mean, a massage parlor like that, yeah, they're going to be around, but I mean, that is so obvious that it's a massage parlor that you're uh, screaming police to raid you, and true fans hold everything accountable, even our favorite sports teams. And you know, I I'm holding the team accountable. The team just didn't hit; they didn't do anything. Um, you know, It just the way it is, and it just sucks. And you know, every person on that team is accountable for uh, not getting the job done. And maybe we need to make the division series a best of seven. And it's not because of the bye teams losing every year. It's because I think that best of seven is a professional series where best of five is minor league. Now you're going to say, well, what about best of three? That's the only way you can get those wild card games in and not have the top seeds sit around for a week and a half. So it's just the way baseball is, where you're ingrained to play every single day. Um, so so I am going to rate out here, and I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back tomorrow at our usual 9 o'clock start. Wednesdays will be our usual 10 o'clock start. And also check out Also Eligible Saturday morning. No idea what I'm looking at for the races on Saturday. I'll have to figure it out tonight or tomorrow. But um, let's raid Action Labs. Action Lab, I should say. They're previewing all the games this week, and let's see what they have to say. And those that are watching on X or on YouTube, you should come on over to Twitch, because I can do stuff like this, and I can introduce you to some other great people that are on Twitch. Because like I said, it may not be Bleacher Brothers. I promote good people. I don't care who you belong to. So, Penguin, thank you so much, and get your ass over to Twitch, okay? But those that are on Twitch, you're going to be sent to Action Lab. They're previewing the weekend NFL slate, and I'm sure Chris will give me some shit about the Mets beating the Phillies. So those on Twitch, you're going over to Action Labs, and those that are on YouTube and X, thank you so much for joining me. We will be back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, and I'll still be in a good. I'm surprisingly in a good mood despite the Phillies losing. So let's go do it, and I'll catch you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Good night, everybody.
Off Daniel Jones combined for 41 of 52 throws with 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. So